I feel that we have not been spending a lot of time together.
That's what you feel.
And that makes me terribly, terribly sad. I don't feel that we are a happy couple. I don't feel that we enjoy our relationship. It's all about work. It's all about, other people. It's all about other stuff, but not us.
Hello, everyone. That is not, by the way, a real conversation. That is Ieva, Kelpsaite, and myself trying to demonstrate two different ways to start and follow sensitive conversations between partners. There is one way to express feelings and concerns and receive them that is totally unproductive, leads to suffering, and sadly is very common. There is another way, though, that opens up possibilities for healing, mutual appreciation, and understanding. I'm Sergio Acosta, and this is Dance in Conversation. Enjoy.
Sergio,
Yes?
you never make time for me.
What do you mean?
Well, we don't have that kind of relationship, We don't spend time together like normal couples do. We don't have, we don't go to restaurant. We don't go for long walks.
We just went to the river together. But
yeah,
I don't see why.
And you were discussing what? Work matters? Do you think that's about making time for me?
Well, that's part of
how?
That's part of what I do, right? I'm sharing with you my work day. I don't see why you are. I mean, this is a demo. It's a demo, guys. It's not real life. So that's a defensive.
That's a defensive, yeah.
It's a defensive. I mean, you're not listening, or I was not listening. I was just being reactive. Defensive. Okay, let's try another approach.
Mm-hmm.
You start again.
Sergio, I want to express something.
Yes.
I feel that we have not been spending a lot of time together.
That's what you feel.
And that makes me terribly, terribly sad. I don't feel that we are a happy couple. I don't feel that we enjoy our relationship. It's all about work. It's all about, other people. It's all about other stuff, but not us.
So what you're saying is that I don't spend time, or we don't spend enough time together.
Yeah.
And you feel like we focus too much on work.
Yeah.
And too little. That's what you feel.
Yeah.
You want to say anything more? What do I do when you feel is sad and ignoring you? How?
I just feel that it's not important for you, that everything else is a priority. And I just feel ignored, I just feel alone as well. I feel lonely. And I feel lonely in our relationship. I just feel lonely.
So you feel lonely, and
Yes.
you feel that I'm not paying attention to you.
Mm-hmm.
I think I get it. I think I understand. And I understand why you would feel like that when I don't pay attention, when I don't spend enough time with you. I get that.
So
what's the next step there?
What shall we do? What do you want to, now that you know this information, what do you want to? Do you want to, I mean, is there something that I can help you with? Or, I mean,
Okay, I guess.
how come that you don't, you know, I understand that it may be some barriers that mm, you can't do that, or you don't want to do that, or what is?
Well, first of all, it makes sense to me. I think it makes sense, and I completely get it. Thank you for sharing that with me. Thank you for expressing that with me. I think that means a lot. I think that's it. So what's happening there?
Well, we started very differently, the first one and the second one. The first one, I started with the blame, right? I started with you never give time to me. We never have time, and never is a big exaggeration, right? It's probably not true. It's an exaggeration. So I start with exaggeration.
By the way, nothing of this is real. We are not a couple. We are not, and yes, I think there's a lot there in terms of, because it's, as we were saying, it's both parts, the dynamic obviously in the communication. So it's two people at least talking to each other. And yeah, you started with blaming, you started with that energy. And in the first example, I was just being defensive and reactive. And instead of, as we try to do in the second example, instead of making the other feel that you get it, that you understand, that what she said, it doesn't matter if you agree or not. That's not what matters in this framework of, we can call it framework of conversation. It doesn't matter if you agree or not. That's not what matters. What matters is that you acknowledge and you are attentive and you are receptive to what the other person is saying. And one way to express that you are receptive is actually in a way repeating what she's saying, and in that way acknowledging what she's saying. And yeah, the point we were making is not being afraid. Not being afraid of going into that place of curiosity, asking for more, you know.
And I think what happened also in the beginning, you were curious about me, like, tell me more about how you feel, tell me more about. But then as soon as I feel, okay, he's actually listening to me, he's understanding, you're understanding me, I then switched on to, okay, well, there must be some barriers, right, for you not to be able to do this, because obviously I feel that it's not intentional, right? You don't want to, you don't do that on purpose. So then it's my turn now. Okay, so how come, that you might not give that time to me? What are the barriers? What are the issues? What are the problems that we don't have the time together? So that's, again, it's like playing tango in a way, right? It's like switching. What's happening here is like we are playing this conversation. We are switching the roles. First, you are listening. You are listening, you giving the space to me to explore, to be, to find out, curious. But then now it's my turn. Now I want to go. Now I want to explore.
Yeah.
And obviously this conversation is not a full conversation. You could have had like a longer conversation, and obviously this is like generated, so it's not a real situation. If it was real situation, then you would have said something around I don't know, about your barriers, right? And we could have gone and explore your barriers for what's difficult for you, what's challenging for you. And this conversation could have gone for a long period of time.
And it requires certainly it requires willing to be open.
Yeah.
No reactive, no defensive, willing to be open to understand your partner, understand the feelings that she's having, and trying to be, and have some empathy there. And it's not a necessity, certainly, that you get into an agreement.
Yeah.
I think you create a different energy just by acknowledging, just like letting her know that what she's saying makes sense. And at the end, being thankful for her expressing those feelings or thoughts or discomforts that she might have in the relationship. Just be thankful for the expression. I think that means a lot.
And what it means also that next time, if I have any concerns or any issues, right, something that is bothering me, I would feel safe enough to express that, because I would feel that you have already listened to me and you've acknowledged me. You acknowledge you acknowledge what I'm saying. You're appreciating what I'm saying. And you've actually taken that everything on board. You didn't block me.
Yeah.
And trying to deny it like in the first instance, right? Yeah.
Yes, you don't deny it, you don't defend yourself, and you don't even try to fix it at that moment.
Yeah.
You're just creating a space of understanding, of real listening without fear. Because that's the thing. Why we don't do this is fear that holds us, is fear that blocks us of having these open and direct conversations.
Yeah.
Without the fear of going deep or deeper in what's going on there. It's because it's fear what's operating behind any defensive attitude. It's fear of actually acknowledging. And it's not a matter of trying to see who is right and who is wrong. At all. Because that would kill the conversation.
Yeah.
That would kill the conversation. It would go into, actual defensive positions.
And I also see this as a gift to each other. Yeah, expression of oneself and hearing the other person expressing themselves. I think it's also a gift that allows us to understand better.
I think, what I feel is, maybe if I'm wrong, tell me. What I feel is, if that's whoever starts with no fear expressing something that is going on, like you say, I feel that you are not making time for us. I think it's the role of the other person to create that space of understanding.
Of course.
Because if that person doesn't create that container of, empathy and understanding, it doesn't work.
Yep.
You know?
On the other hand, I also know that sometimes what appears as a blaming statement can be also difficult to receive. I mean, blame is always difficult to receive, and it's we are human beings, so we will fall into this defensive state that, yeah, but I give time. What are you saying? Why are you saying never? Right? But I guess it depends on also the way you express yourself. So when you start with a blaming statement, the reaction that will most likely follow is going to be defensive reaction.
Yeah, I see.
Unless this person is very open and receptive, and they are aware and strong and confident to hold the space that way, right? And it's a skill to be able to do that. But if I want to express something, an issue, a problem, and I express it with intention that I want to express it not blaming another person, but I want to express it how I feel about this particular issue. What feelings come? How does that make me feel? I said lonely. I said not taken care of, that you don't, that we don't enjoy the relationship, right? So if I express it from my own perspective without blaming you, then you're more likely to be receptive towards it. I don't think if anybody said, maybe I feel sad, if that would take someone to be defensive.
No.
It wouldn't, right?
Yeah.
But I think it takes me to be courageous enough to be able to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also conscious.
Yes. I think it's an art. Going into this conversation, obviously there's always an element of fear and uncertainty. You don't know what's going to happen, and that's the fear that we feel. What am I going to trigger? What reaction I'm going to get? What response? You don't know in the first instance, unless you know your partner very well and you are both conscious persons and have self-awareness. Then you already have done the work beforehand. But if you're not, it's always this element of fear. What's going to happen if I express my feelings? So I think this is a framework. This is a framework that we can put in place and try in our relationships. It's so simple and so clear. You express a feeling not as a blame, but as that's how I feel, as a personal emotion, personal experience. But the other person receives it not as a judgment, not as an attack, but with an attitude of receptiveness.
I mean, it's perfectly possible that even if I say, you never give time to me in our relationship, you are going to see it as a request.
I remember one exercise in dancing tango when we saw one of the events, face-to-face events.
Okay.
I remember there was one couple dancing, and I think she was trying to move faster, and the guy was more slower and more like calmer. And in the conversation, they share, well, she wanted to do her stuff and I wanted to do mine, and we couldn't dance because.
Mhm.
So that's another example how no matter the situation, even if it's a couple issue, couple context or the dance floors, you can express what you want. You can express what you need without the fear, because fear is a huge block.
Mhm.
It's so huge.
Mhm.
It really can take a toll in the couple dynamics for a long time and destroy the relationship because you have this fear and you hold all your feelings, you hold what you think, and you condescend and you never express what you really feel. That destroys relationships from inside. That's why it's important to learn this art or this skill of going into a meaningful conversations.
I think that the fear not only destroys in a way that the other person also doesn't know anything about,
Exactly.
because they haven't got a clue, right? They don't have a clue.
Or they might feel something, but because it's never expressed, you can say, it's okay.
Yeah. Or if it comes as a blame, they just choose not to ignore. Like, I will choose, if you're blaming me, that doesn't make me feel good, I will not respond to that. Right. So that other person is actually feeling hurt.
This idea of what matters is not seeing who is wrong and who is right. And that's a lesson we can take from tango. Doesn't matter if the steps is wrong. You follow what's next. You follow what's next. I mean, I could be leading a dance. You could make a mistake on the dance floor. And I follow you there. That mistake, a little mistake that you made, that probably changed my original plan of moving in a certain way or in a certain direction. But instead of trying to correct or fix, or I follow you there. And instead of playing the role of why are you doing that? I follow you there, and the dance continue. So dance is, in a sense, is a conversation, and we know dance is a conversation. We know that. And tango shows that, yes, you follow your loved one. You follow it, and that's following translate into understanding, receptiveness, acknowledging.
Listening. Receptiveness, listening.
Thank you, Ieva.
Thank you, Sergio.
And that was the conversation. If you have anything that you would like to add, discuss, or have a question for Ieva or myself, you can go to forum.dancingconversation.co.uk. Our events are free, and they will always be, but please consider to support us. Any contribution would make a difference and help us to continue setting and promoting this space that, well, if we are not yet dancing, at least gives us the chance to connect and grow a little bit as a community. To donate, go to www.dancingconversation.co.uk/donate. I'm Sergio Acosta. Thank you for listening.